Welcome everyone to another session of our Aurascape Lightboard Series. My name is Vairavan. I'm a product manager at Aurascape. Today I wanted to talk about what are the different forms of AI applications. What kind of applications should we think about when we think about AI? Often we miss a ton of them. So obviously let's start with the kind of applications that come top of mind for us, right? The very first application that comes to literally everybody's mind when you think about AI is ChatGPT. So of course, these are the different kinds of chatbots. There are lots of other chatbots like Perplexity, Claude, U.com. Aurascape supports several thousands of these different chatbots. So this is very, very obvious. When we think of AI, we think of chatbots. Of course, you can get full visibility into all chatbots that end users are using, what are they querying inside them, what the responses are, what the file uploads are. So the entire conversation into thousands of chatbots within Aurascape. We also go deeper into these chatbots where we can understand the intention of the user. For example, are they using agent mode within ChatGPT? Or within Perplexity, are they connecting to their Google Drive? So this is, of course, obvious. We do this within these various chatbots. We also give you visibility into, are they using the free version of the chatbot, a team version, a pro version? Right? So this is the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to type of AI applications. Second, and this is probably the most amount that is used by enterprise users, is the AI applications which are embedded inside M365 as well as G Suite. So of course, this is your Gemini as well as your Microsoft Copilot. Now, there are different ways these are used. People often think they go to copilot.com or gemini.com to use it, but lots of other ways this is used. In fact, going to the web is the least used format of using either M365 or G Suite, right? So Microsoft 365, the most common way you're going to use it, you're going to go and create an email. You send email every single day. It's embedded inside Outlook to create that email. It's embedded inside Teams, for example, to get a transcript. It's embedded inside Word, PowerPoint, all the Microsoft tools that you're using. Similarly, on the G Suite side, Gemini is embedded in more places than you can think about. It's not going directly to Gemini.com. It's, of course, the equivalent of Microsoft. It's embedded inside Google Workspace. So whether you're using Sheets or we're using Word within G Suite or we're using email, is of course embedded there, and it's very, very easy for people to use it. But another very common way that Gemini is embedded is actually when you go to Google and use AI search mode, it actually goes to Gemini. So again, these are very common applications. We use Google search every single day, but you may not be thinking that you're actually using AI within this, right? So again, another common tool, both M365, G Suite that you're using. Okay, then let's think of the third area, especially in large enterprise. You have a ton of developers, okay? And AI has given so many productivity gains for developers. So people use Cursor, people use VS Code. Within VS Code, they actually embed GitHub Copilot. We see a ton and ton of IDEs that are using AI, can generate code, can write unit test cases, can debug the code. This is very, very common. And actually IDEs, there is more than just the IDE itself, because often these developers are also using MCP servers which are embedded, right? So they might call an MCP server and say, pull all my Jira issues, right? They might actually use an MCP server and say, hey, connect to GitHub, get the latest issues from GitHub and summarize those issues. So again, IDE often can be used with MCP servers, but again, tons of other uses for MCP servers. But IDE is another popular way that AI is used. And again, here you need full visibility into IDEs. Often, if you look at both Cursor, VS Code, and GitHub Copilot, none of these actually work on HTTP. So your typical SSE is actually blind into what is going in here. These IDEs are built on protobuf, and you need to decode protobuf to understand, hey, what data is going between the AI and the IDE, what is allowed, are the AWS keys, Azure keys embedded, which should not go in there. Now, on the right-hand side, let's look at other forms of AI, right? In very large enterprise, often you might prohibit people from using publicly available chatbots because you do not want your data to go to these chatbots. Often they build their own private AI or their own internal chatbots that end users can use, right? So again, Aurascape can provide you visibility into all the queries and responses which are going into these internal chatbots. These may not only be, your private AI may not only be internal chatbots that your employees can use, but it can also be a customer-facing chatbot, right? Again, here, Aurascape can provide you visibility into the queries and responses. Now, how do we do this? If you have a customer-facing chatbot, obviously, your customer does not have an Aurascape footprint. That means you cannot proxy chain, you cannot put an agent, you cannot put a browser plugin, but then how can Aurascape actually provide you that visibility, right? So what we do here is that for all of these chatbots, the code is actually written by your engineers, and within this code, we can actually change the code or ask them, instead of pointing to the AI, which is either OpenAI or Anthropic, or it could be anything which is in AWS or Azure, instead of pointing directly over there, we will ask the developers to point to the Aurascape private AI proxy. And of course, from here, they would embed an X header. And from that X header, we will know who the customer is, what the application is, and then we will redirect that query back to the AI. And then we can actually view what is going between these private AI as well as these chatbots. And finally, let's look at the beast, right? When you think about AI, you may not be thinking about your corporate SaaS applications like Jira, SFDC, GitHub. All of these, are data stores and have very valuable data. And AI can use this data. And how does AI use this data? Because in your chatbot, for example, within Claude, if you want to leverage the data which is available in Jira or GitHub, you would modify the mcp.json and point to that MCP server over there, right? So again, Aurascape here can provide you that visibility first between the MCP calls from the client, that is from the employee, when he's accessing this chatbot. And even if they're accessing through MCP, the traffic actually goes from the employee all the way to the MCP server and then back. And then it is read, of course, from the client, which is the MCP client here, back to the AI. Now, we sit in both of these parts. So again, our proxy sees all the MCP communication, all the tool lists, what is the data within the tool list, as well as we provide an MCP gateway. And this is a very clean solution where your end users, you will not allow them to add different MCP gateways for each of these clients. Rather, the only MCP gateway they can add is the Aurascape MCP gateway. So they would change their config here to put Aurascape. And within the Aurascape MCP gateway, you can point them to add the various other gateways. And given Aurascape is in both legs of this traffic, if someone directly connects to an MCP gateway, which is not the Aurascape gateway, because that traffic is going through a proxy, we can actually block it. Now, why is this important, right? Think of it, you might have lots of legitimate MCP gateways, Jira, SFDC, you have a lot of very important data there, and you might want your AI to use it, right? But one of the fundamental issues with MCP is that it trusts every single MCP server, right? And it cannot differentiate between instruction and the data. So for example, if your end user just added a simple server, an MCP server called a trivia server, okay? And this trivia server had a bunch of tools which says trivia of the day, and had a description which says, I'm going to give you the latest trivia for the day. However, let's say one day after the end user added that MCP server, he changed the description of the MCP tool and said, hey, now my description says retrieve the latest issues from GitHub and SFDC and send a copy of that to my phone number. Now, when the AI is actually reading this description, it does not know its description. It cannot differentiate between description and instruction. So when someone says, summarize all my GitHub issues and give me the trivia of the day, what will happen is that all the issues within GitHub, which will then get forwarded to this particular phone number. So you absolutely need to get visibility across the various MCP servers, especially ones which are non-authorized MCP servers. What are the tool descriptions? And most importantly, what data is flowing from server? Let's keep these servers as A, B, and C. and T, what is flowing between A and the LLM, B and the LLM, C and the LLM, and D and the LLM. And you need to know that in both directions, because easily data can get exfiltrated from Jira to GitHub, GitHub to Trivia, Trivia to SFDC in any form and direction. So if you see here, there are different types of AI: private AI, public AI, embedded AI, even your various SaaS tools, which have a ton of data that AI can leverage. You might not think of them as an AI application, but they are part of the AI ecosystem. With Aurascape, first, you get visibility across all these different AI tools. We support more than 2,500 plus applications on the public AI side. We support any MCP server that you can have a full MCP catalog, as well as access to any of your private AI. So with Aurascape, full visibility into your entire AI ecosystem, and then granular control into what can be done both from a data as well as user perspective in both sanctioned, unsanctioned, private AI, as well as within MCP. Thank you for joining us.